Good morning, people. This past weekend, I had the pleasure of finally getting the opportunity to see, meet, and hug many of my family. Some of them were meeting me for the very first time, and some I hadn't seen in years. It felt good to be reminded of how we were all placed here by God in good company. Our first best friends in life are our siblings and cousins. Our favorite aunts and uncles always impressed us with the cool things they did and the awesome things they taught us. We celebrated annual family reunions by attending Thanksgivings, Christmas dinners, while in the mighty presence of Big Mama, Nana, etc. And now, no matter what inner rival between the siblings that was going on, those were the moments that brought it all back. All in all, we were always happier when we were all together. Growing up in a tribe requires several different elements, with love being at the very top. But unity is also up there big time. Back when I was growing up, we all got together at my grandparents' house. If you hadn't seen your cousins for months at a time, it was probably because the parents were going through some sort of disagreement. Didn't matter at Grandma and Pa's house, though. It would all be squashed soon. Listen up, people. How much time do you really think we have? Don't be wrong in your answer, or you'll be late in your choice. Get back in touch with your tribe and stay in it. You just never know when you may be having and holding the last convo. I love you all. Thank you for being my family. And remember, FOE, baby.
First Cup KC, unique, hustle hard music. Yeah, First Cup KC, start your day off with a cup of Joe and positive convo. First Cup KC, shine a light on the ones that work hard from Kansas to the Mo. First Cup KC, motivate, educate, inspire the youth to be great. First Cup KC, believe in yourself is the key to make a change. It's never too late. First Cup KC. This broadcast is a No Solutions podcast production. Yeah.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I have the honor of talking with a very, very good friend of mine. This guy, I remember him back when he was at the car wash. Car wash.
Yeah.
And this guy went from washing cars to actually building them. And he went from building cars to actually building his own future. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome a good friend of mine and a striving entrepreneur,
Appreciate it.
Big Fred.
Appreciate it. What's up, Fred? Good to be here, man.
Good to have you, man.
Beautiful
Trying to get
studio
you on
y'all
this
got
show
here.
a long time, boy. I got
man,
you.
We in here now. We in here.
Hey, you're doing some big things, man, in the community.
Yes, sir.
And it's an honor to have you here.
I appreciate you.
I like to, man, I love highlighting people like you on the show. And hopefully our listeners and viewers get a good take on this one, because you got some pretty interesting stuff to talk about today.
Yes, sir.
But let's start off by just giving viewers and listeners a little bit of information about who Big Fred is.
Big Fred, man. So graduated from Shawnee Mission North 2008, bounced around elementary schools. But graduated from Shawnee Mission North 2008.
Shawnee Mission North.
Shawnee Mission North, which you're the Bison now.
Yeah.
Name change.
Yeah.
Name
we ain't
change.
gonna get into
We
that.
ain't gonna touch that. But,
Bison.
hey, the Bison's for life now. But left high school, actually got a scholarship to play football at Coffeyville Community College.
Mm-hmm.
Went down to Coffeyville, played a year. My second year, ended up having a knee surgery. So it brought me home.
Knee surgery, what happened?
So I tore my ACL my senior year of high school, which I thought I was done playing football, to be honest with you. Obviously at that age, I feel like most kids have that dream of, hey, I'm going to go to the NFL. I'm going to go, you know how the whole thing goes.
Yeah.
And so that was my dream. Coffeyville gave me opportunity to continue my football career, offered me a scholarship. So I went down there and played ball. So the second surgery, I ended up tearing my MCL, my meniscus, a second time. And after that, it was kind of left me in like a little depressed state. So, man, I just decided to go ahead and come back home and, try to figure out life back in Kansas City. And at that time, man, it was rough. I definitely was just trying to figure myself out. I worked a lot of temp jobs, got fired from a lot of temp jobs, just trying to figure my life out for real. Let's see here. I went from, man, working Lowe's, you name it, I worked there.
When I first met you down in Mission.
Yeah, at the car wash. It was crazy. That was my senior year of high school. I worked at Turtle Wax at the time. Yep. I don't even think it's called Turtle Wax anymore.
Man, everybody
knew what Turtle Wax was. But yeah, man, once I got out of college, man, I tried to figure out life. And at the time, my dad, he was working at General Motors. And honestly, just being a 20-year-old kid, man, at the time, man, I felt like I was still a kid at the time. I didn't know what I was doing with my life, you know what I mean? And my dad was like, hey, it's time maybe you start looking at getting into the plant. And, obviously, at the time, it was better than any of the opportunities that presented
big money there
at the time. And insurance was good, so I'm like, all right. So I did what I needed to do.
Checks, what they call them things, them big checks they give. The profit sharing checks.
Profit sharing checks. Ooh-wee. Man, but that's
boy.
That was definitely something that pushed me like, ooh, I want one of those. Yeah. So,
how many did you get though?
It was funny. I only got one, and I was there for 7 years.
Dang,
I worked there 7 years, man. Yeah. 7 long years.
So I want to know about this. So you went from Turtle Wax, and you went there and put 7 years in. 7 years, and somebody else's dream though.
Somebody else's dream.
And you got to a point, and this is where we're coming. This is where the meat started coming. So what happened? Give it to me.
Man, honestly, man, I kind of got to bag you up a little bit and really tell you what happened, man. I went through a dark phase, man, while I was working at the plant, man. It obviously was a great opportunity for me and my family, as far as financially. That was the most money I ever made in my life, you know what I mean? But mentally, it put me in a bad place, you know what I'm saying? General Motors ain't a bad company or nothing like that. I ain't gonna say that, but you have to be cut from a different kind of cloth to work in a facility where you're limited on where you can go. It's real repetitive. It's a repetitive job. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you got maybe a 20-foot work area, and you're walking back and forth for 9 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. There's no windows in there, so you kind of got to be mentally just in that right kind of mindset. And after a while, it was just like, okay, don't get me wrong, the job was great, but I was like, it's something out there more than this for me, at least. You know what I mean? And, and I tip my hat off to all the people that I got to meet at General Motors. And obviously my dad for getting me on there. Watched my grandfather retire from there. General Motors took care of my family, growing up. I mean, I watched my dad take real good care of us working at General Motors. So I was blessed with the opportunity. But for me, it was like, there was something bigger. I didn't know what it was. And it was funny because, I was cutting hair since I was 14. And never once did I have any dreams on even being a barber. That's what's funny about my whole story. Sometimes people are like, oh, man, I'm like, this was never even a dream. How this
Michael Jordan story.
Yeah. So, and like I told you earlier, I thought I was going to the league. That's all I was thinking about. In high school, I'm like, I'm going to the NFL. I don't need none of this other stuff. And obviously it didn't work. So then I was just like, I was stuck. You know what I'm saying? Like most people are, when they get in that situation. And so I worked at General Motors. And the whole time I'm thinking, okay, Fred, you got to get out of here. Fred, you got to figure out something. And so I ended up enrolling in barber school while I was at General Motors. So here's the kicker, though.
Uh-oh.
So barber school offered you full-time and part-time shifts. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, okay, I can't go full-time because I got a family to take care of, I got a whole home life. I'm like, okay, so I got to do this part-time. But I'm looking at the hours. They're saying the hours are 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. I'm like, man, okay, I work at 6 in the morning to 2:30. So that only leaves me 30 minutes to get from the job down to the school.
Sprint to that.
I'm like, oh, man, this is going to be hard. And it's funny, when I went into the barber school, I was just, I don't know. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just like, man, I got to figure out something. Walked in there, they was like, yeah, man, it's going to be $600 to start. At the time, man, $600 was everything I had, So I went home and I sat on it and went to work and just was like, okay, think. And it's funny, I remember pulling out $600. I had a drawer I kept my little money in, and I went to count my money, and I had like $682. I think I remembered it. It was $682. I had it in this drawer. I'm like, man, it's gonna leave me $82 to my name. Like,
hey, man.
What I'm gonna do? What I'm gonna do? And I took the money with me to work. After work, I went down to the school and I'm filling out the paperwork, and they was like, yeah, you gotta do a down payment. It's $600. I'm like, all right. I set it on the table, and I'm like, man, I just gave them
all my loot, everything. I'm down to 82 right now.
82. That's all I was thinking. I was like, this ain't a lot. But I hopped in there, and at that time, as soon as I gave them the money and I was officially enrolled in school, it was like, okay, it's on me now. And for the first time in my life, man, I felt like I was about to gamble on myself.
You were.
And so for me,
Finally.
it was like, hey, Fred, you ain't got no choice now. And at this time, I had been at General Motors for 5 years by the time I enrolled in school. So obviously, it was just like, okay, I got the mindset. General Motors created a great mindset work ethic for me. I will say that, man, I gained a great work ethic working at General Motors, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a very disciplined job. The first 3 years that I was there, I was a temp. When you're a temp at General Motors, you can't miss no days. You can't
Militant.
be late. Oh, yeah. They playing no games at all.
So my wife used to drive to work. She used to get there 45 minutes early every day. And I'm like, why?
They were playing no games.
She was like, because I'm 10.
But it created structure in the long run.
Yeah.
What I figured out about it created structure. And it was cool because I felt like it set me up to be successful later on.
Yeah.
At the time, I was like, man, this is crazy. Like, I can't take no days off. If I'm sick, it don't matter. Like, hey, you better be at work. You know what I'm saying? So it was tough. But once I got into school, I was like, okay, this is what's going on. So obviously I worked Monday through Friday at General Motors. I was there 6 to 2:30. Tuesday through Saturday, I had barber school. And I mean, I got out of the plant at 2:30. I'm at the gate running to my car so I could go make theory by 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I get in theory, and it was funny because, when I first enrolled in barber school, I'm thinking, hey, they just gonna give me some clippers and I'm about to go in there and just cut some hair and show them what I can do. 'Cause I've been cutting hair for a long time, watched a lot of YouTube videos. No, they gave me a mannequin head and was like, oh, we're doing a perm rods, and you got to go to theory, go to class. I'm like, oh, this is like real college again. So I had to really, adjust to going back to school now.
Yeah.
I remember walking in to class my first day, and they were like, open up your books, chapter over anatomy. I'm like, anatomy? I'm looking around like,
what?
Oh, we at
Can I
barber
get my
school.
$600 back?
I need my $600 back right now. So that was crazy to me. But it was also an experience, man. It was like, okay, I get to see a different side of this barbering thing. Like I said, learning the sanitation side of barbering, learning about bone structures in the face and how to make a haircut, make somebody's face and haircut fit each other. Like that was a huge thing to me.
I just want a haircut.
I didn't. I'm thinking everybody just getting fades and tapers. Like I didn't know it was much deeper than that. So obviously, I went through barber school while I was working at General Motors. With me going part time, I think it ended up taking right around 19, maybe 20 months for me to get through school because. Obviously, having a full-time job where they didn't really have a lot of leniency on your time. There was some Saturdays they would say, hey, you got to work. And I'm like, oh, man, school is supposed to be mandatory too. So I was trying to work with them. By that time, 3 years in, I got hired on. So my supervisors, with me being a full-time employee now, being a permanent, they were a little bit more lenient. And I had a supervisor at the time, Miss Kathy, and she was the best supervisor I ever had, man. She was understanding that I had a dream and she seen that. And so if I was like, hey, Miss Kathy, I got school Saturday. Like, is there any way you can? She's like, Fred, just go ahead and get out of here. I got you. I'm like, all right, that's cool. So she seen my vision, you know what I mean? Right. And as I was going to school, I started to see my vision come into reality. You know what I'm saying? At first, when I enrolled, I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. There's days I get home from school at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I'm back in the garage cutting hair till 1 o'clock in the morning. My homie's calling me, and it was like in my mind, it was so crazy because it's like I had a vision that I wasn't even sure what it was. Like, I just seen something bigger than myself. I was like, Fred, I don't know what you're doing, but just keep going. Yeah. Everything is going to happen. Just keep going. And, even to this day, I tell people all the time, I'm like, look, at the end of every tunnel, it's a light. And sometimes you're going to hit dark spots and you be like, man, it ain't no light. Just keep going. You got to keep going.
Sometimes you step in holes that you can't see.
Yeah, what I mean? And you might run into a wall every now and then. You might have to feel around and see, okay, let me go around a little bit and keep it on pushing.
Just follow that light.
And so it was something I definitely just was telling myself. Obviously, once I got, about a year into barber school and, I'm still like, man, okay, I'm a little over halfway done, but by this time I'm mentally breaking down, physically breaking down because, I ain't getting no sleep. I mean, I'm literally running off 4 hours of sleep every night. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay.
And you still down there in the dirt.
I'm still in the dirt. And honestly, I'm still broke. I'm like, okay, where does it kick in at? Where does the benefits start to kick in at? And it was crazy. I had a little incident at the plant where, we get laid off at General Motors and stuff. And something happened pretty much. They gave me an overpayment of $26. Unemployment calls me, says, hey, we overpaid you $26. You tried to fraud the state. So we're taking your unemployment for the next 5 years. So now I'm stuck. I'm like, oh no.
That's it. And I watched that happen to somebody before
it was crazy. So it was just like, for me, it was like, okay, now what I do, when we go on shutdown, okay, I got to take care of my family. I'm like, oh man, they done kicked me out. So now I'm like, okay, I got to cut hair full time. And it was funny, people ask me all the time, they like, oh, how long you been thinking? I was like, man, honestly, I didn't even know barbers made any good money. It was a hobby for me. I genuinely just enjoyed cutting people's hair. I like the atmosphere of being in barbershops. I like kicking it with my friends. I like making people feel good and look good from a haircut. So it was I wasn't even thinking about the money. And I never, envisioned myself even really, like I said, doing this. And it was just something like, I was like so focused on getting out of the plan and just doing something else. Cause I was just so mentally unhappy being in there. So I was like, okay, I gotta go. And obviously, I was getting laid off from the plan. And so I remember we came up on a shutdown for the winter time. And I was like, okay, Fred, you about to cut hair full time for these next 4 weeks. Let's see what you can really do, to see if, if this is really going to work for you or not. Right. And man, I remember I'm cutting and cutting and cutting, and 5-6 days go by. I turn around, I look at that stash. I'm like, whoo. That's it. And so I'm like, man, okay, I made this, and I'm looking over at my checks. I'm like, okay, so it looks like I'm like, hold on now, I might be on to something now. So I had to take a step back again. I'm like, okay, and weigh out all my options. Obviously, I'm looking at, my kids, my old lady. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do over here? This barber and stuff. It was a big risk because what people fail to realize, with barbers, there is no PTO. Nope. There is no, vacation. Like, you can take vacation whenever you want to, but you're not getting paid unless you're cutting hair. So it was like, okay,
downtime is downtime.
But going back to the lessons, when General Motors kicked me off of the unemployment, I was like, okay, so I'm used to this anyway. I'm like, I ain't trying to, I done been broke before. Yeah. So, I mean, so that was it. I was like, man, all right, what we going to do, Fred? And so, I'm talking to myself, hyping myself up. Like, all right, come on. We got to go.
And the crazy thing about it, they teach you.
Oh, yeah.
They literally, when they lay you off over and over and over again, you're teeter-tottering with these people to go for it.
Yep.
Because that's kind of what happened with Corinne. Yep. She said, I don't want to go back because I have to start all over again. Yep. And right now, I'm used to being in this position, and I'm fighting out of it. Yep. So you started this cutting that hair, and it started getting it. I know it wasn't all the way GM or all the way that assembly money, but when you start seeing that, I think if I put a little more into it, I can. And if I put a little more, I'm gonna kill that.
And that was where obviously social media started to play in. I started cutting more heads, and people were like, hey, Fred, you got good. And obviously in this whole time, I was trapping in the basement, cutting hair out of the original chop shop. People don't know, man, I was in a chicken coop, cutting hair. And for the people that had been rocking with me when this all started, I literally cut hair in maybe a 10 by 8 foot storage unit. little cage, had chicken coop wire around, and I ran extension cords over the ceiling, and we was in there getting it in. Wintertime, there was no heat out there. I'm in there cutting in a hoodie and stuff. I mean, it was some good times, man. Yeah, I mean, I cried a lot of nights in that room because I'm like, Fred, what you doing? Like something's got to break right now. It's just it was rough nights for sure. But but it was just like, okay, you got to keep going. You got to keep going. And so eventually, obviously, I graduated barber college, and it was like, okay, Fred, what's the move now? So now I got a choice to make. I'm like, okay, you went through all this school now.
What you gonna do with it?
You got your license.
What you gonna do with it?
And it was funny. I remember talking to my dad, man. Shout out Pops, man.
What up, Pops? I got him in here.
I remember talking to my dad, and I was like, hey, Pops, man, I think I'm about to quit the plant, man. I wanted his opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I respect my dad. You know what I'm saying? And I watched my Pops. Like I said, he held it down. He's been at General Motors 20 years. You know what I'm saying? And I know being there now and working in that job, working there for 7 years, I was like, man. So to see that my Pop's been there 20 years and he held it down because he had to take care of his family. I tipped my hat off to him. So I wanted to go talk to him. I'm like, hey, I don't want you to think that I'm quitting on you, but I want to know honestly.
And then he got you the job there.
And he got me the job there. Like I said, my uncles worked there. My dad, my grandpa retired from there. So I seen General Motors, take care of my family in so many different generations. You know what I mean? It was funny. My dad, man, he a real straight shooter, man. Yeah. He turned around. He was like, I don't pay your bills. Like, do what you need to do. I was like, all right, man. That was all he said to me. And he was just like, do what you need to do. And so I went home. Like I said, I talked to my family, and, I was just like, okay, Fred, if you're going to do this, man, just know that it's on you now, and there was a clause in there that, hey, if you leave General Motors, they pretty much red flag you. Like, you can't come back, especially in the manner. Like, honestly, I didn't even know how I was about to quit. For a while, like, I was terrified to quit because when you have a job, you develop a security blanket. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So you get that check coming in, and it's like, I know this check is coming every Friday. When you cutting hair, you don't know. Somebody could cancel. Somebody could not show up. Somebody
could that last check. It's the last check syndrome.
And
knowing that you're gonna get one more check,
and it's
after
all
this,
on you,
and that's it. Your security blanket has been ripped right off your ass,
taken off me. And I remember I walked into HR, and it's a funny story. I walked into HR. I remember the HR lady was sitting there eating a salad. I'll never forget this day of my life, man. She was sitting there eating a salad. She looked up. She's like, "How can I help you?" I was like, "Yeah." How do I quit? Like, I didn't even know how to quit this job. I'm like, this is crazy. And she straight up, she's like, excuse me? I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to quit. Now, the whole time in my mind, I'm like, Fred, what you doing?
Doing this.
Fred, what you doing, bro? Like, don't do it. But my mouth just kept running. She was like, well, did you, fill out any, write a letter of anything, like your resignation or anything? I'm like, no, like, I just want to quit. I don't even know what to do. Like, and they know I've been there, like I said, this 7 years in. So they looking at me like, you finally hired? Like, what are you talking about?
He's going through a midlife crisis. Something ain't right with that guy.
So she gave me a piece of paper. She was like, well, you need to fill out something. I wrote, I quit on the paper, and I signed it. She said, give me your badge, Fred. And I was like, all right. And in my mind, I'm seriously telling myself, like, Fred, this is crazy, bro. What are you doing?
How'd you feel like driving off that parking lot, man? That's a massive
walking
parking lot.
Out of the plant. I remember she walked me out.
Yeah,
HR lady, she walked me. She took my badge. She was like, come on, I'm walking you out through security.
Did she get mean?
You could tell she kind of was just like, I can't believe he just did this. Yeah. And in my mind, I was thinking, I can't believe I just did this either. You know what I'm saying? Like, so as she's walking me out, she's looking around, and I'm looking around like, dang, it's like my last stroll through the park. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't never coming to this playground again.
Man, this is it.
And so as we getting closer to the gates, she kind of like chuckles and like, so what are you going to do with your life? I was like, I'm going to be a barber. She was like, huh, okay. I was like, all right. And I hit the turn signal, and that gate locked behind me. I was like, that's it. And when I got in that car, it was stress off of me that I didn't really realize was even there.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was just like a weight got lifted off. I'm like, man, I don't I don't got to cry about this job no more.
You let that weight go because you picked up another.
Yeah, and it was just like, hey, that's it, man. Like that was a part of my life and a chapter. I was able to close that and just like, all right, Fred, now it's really on though. So by this time, obviously going through working and going to school and just working at home in the garage, cutting hair, it was like I'd already developed that mindset to where I already knew I was going to gamble on myself. And I was like, I'm going to win. That's all I was thinking. I was like, I'm going to win. So
then the pandemic hit.
And then this is crazy. So I left General Motors. I ended up working at a barbershop, Midwest Cuts. Stayed there for a year. Had a great time. Real great owners and everything, but obviously situations occurred. I had to close that chapter in my life. So now I'm going into my first year of barbering full time. I'm like, okay. Ended up at another barbershop. I'm like, all right, man. Okay, here we go. So barbershop number 2 now. I'm there a year in. It's just like, I remember walking into the second shop that I was at, and I told the guy, I was like, hey, man, I'm looking around. I'm like, hey, man, one day I want what you got.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, you know what I'm saying? He just kind of, just said, that's what's up, and, kind of fluffed it off a little bit. But in my mind, I'm like,
I can do
Fred,
it.
You can do this, man.
Yep.
You can do this. And so I stayed there for a year, and the whole time in the back of my head, I'm like, Fred, like, there's so much opportunity out here. Like, hey, you got a nice following. People been rocking with you. They done seen you come from the dirt, really doing this. Yep. And, obviously, talking to my friends and, having that support system behind me was a huge thing, because it was like, for a long time, I felt like people had more confidence in me than I had in myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, they was pushing me, and I'm like, hey, y'all sure I can do that? And they like, oh, Fred, that's easy for you. Like, you got it. I'm like, all right, yeah, I got it. So I'm just, going through, and I grabbed my first building. That was in 2019, man. I grabbed my first barbershop, and real small building, but it was mine. You know what I'm saying? It was just
yours.
like, hey,
home.
It was somewhere that I was like, okay, I can start to set what I felt was the dream barbershop for my people. You know what I mean? I was just talking to one of my people the other day, and you'll hear me refer to my people as, because they're my people. I told them they're not my clients. Like, anytime I cut your hair, you're not just a client to me. Like, you become family. You my people, man. Like, and I'm going to show love for my people. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, it's always, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to take care of all my people. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to try my best in my community and the community. You know what I'm saying? And so it's, for me, it was like, it was so much deeper than cutting hair to me, as I started to really venture into this barber game, and really starting to have an understanding on how powerful my voice was, and how powerful, what I was doing for people, it meant to other people. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, Fred, like, let's turn it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm intrigued, and I want to challenge myself. I'm like, okay. So opened the first barbershop in 2019. I was actually August of 2019. And everything was going good. At the end of 2019, rolling into 2020, COVID hits. Boom. So me being the first year owner, first couple months owner, I'm like, oh man, what do we do now? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know what to do right now. So
I remember you go back to the lab.
And it was funny, because I remember they came in, and I want to say March, April, they shut the town down.
April.
It was,
we got our shop. The week we got our shop, I signed the lease, just got our shop, bucket truck sitting out in front of my house for 2 years. We finally get our shop. The week we open, the city shut down.
Okay, so April. So it reminds you, I got the shop in August of 19.
Yeah.
So you got August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. You know what I'm saying? We ain't even at 10
Barely
months.
a year.
Barely a year. April, town shuts down. So we can't cut. So me being me, I already know. I'm like,
chicken coop.
Back to the coop we go.
Chicken coop.
I set the garage up, and we back in there getting it in. People like, hey, Fred, this is crazy. It felt like when we first started. I'm like, sure is. I'm sitting there fading them up right there in the garage.
Those was your people.
And them was my people.
And that's why you say
and so
people.
they showed up, and I mean, like I said, they come to my house, in my garage, like, and they know what time it is though. They knew what I was gonna do, and I was like, okay, let's go. And so we finally got to open back up. The city kind of started, open back up around end of June. I want to say we got to open the shop back up in June. So being down for, almost 3 months, I'm like, man, this is crazy. But now let's get back into it. Okay, we about to fire the band back up. So we get in there in June. July hit. I remember, I'll never forget this. July, that would have been 31st of 2020. I was sitting there cutting my people, Nemo. That's my dog, Nemo. I was sitting there cutting his hair. And man walks in the shop with an envelope. Is Fred here?
Uh-oh.
I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'm like, he gives me an envelope. He's like, all right, thanks, man. Walks out. Never seen this man before in a day in my life.
Yep.
I'm like, whatever. So, being in a barbershop, people just shooting the stuff or whatever. They're like, oh, man, he getting served or whatever. Everybody laughing and joking. I open this letter up. It's a letter from a lawyer. I'm like, legal services. I'm sitting there skimming through it. My landlord's kicking me out the building. So remind you,
see,
I'm like,
hear about that.
I'm like, oh, what is this? And so my lease was up in the end of August. So this is July 31st.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, you got to the end of August to get out. I've decided not to renew your lease because I signed a 1-year lease. And she was like, I've decided not to. I didn't even get a full year in.
Yeah.
And so I'm in the middle of a haircut. I'm trying not to cry. I'm trying to keep my mind together. The barbers, everybody just shoot. Nobody don't know what this letter is saying.
Wow.
And so in my mind, I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I supposed to do now? So I get through cutting his hair. I go outside and call my mom. I'm like, Mama.
What's up, Mom?
Hey, what's up, Mom? Hey, I'm sitting there. I'm like, hey, they kicking us out the shop. She's like, what? I'm sitting there reading this letter to her. As I'm reading the letter, I'm crying. Because I'm like, what am I supposed to? Everything that I had saved and I put into this shop.
You put it all in.
It was just like, I'm like, this is crazy. We just got back from, shut down from COVID. I'm thinking the business is running good. Everything, cool. Lady sends me that stuff. I'm like, okay, now I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Mind you, this is July 31st of 2020. August 7th, I catch COVID.
Dang, boy.
Oh,
Keep
man.
it coming, man.
So
Keep
August 7th, I catch COVID. And I'm sitting there cutting one day, and something just ain't feeling right. I'm like, hey. So this is at the beginning of COVID.
Yeah.
It wasn't no vaccines. It wasn't all you seen was deaths on the TV. That's all I kept seeing. I'm like, oh, people just get knocked off left and right. So one day I ain't feeling good, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, hey, man, I don't know what's going on. I went home on a Saturday about 2 p.m. I slept from 2 p.m. Saturday to like 9 in the morning Sunday. I was like, okay. When I woke up, I was like, something ain't right. I don't sleep that long. No. So I ended up going to CVS, testing, whatever, cool. They hit me Monday, all positive for COVID. Now I'm in the house wigging out.
Scared,
like, this is crazy. So not only am I scared because, of fear mongering that they got going on the media, but now I'm still thinking like, what am I supposed to do with my shop? I got 3 weeks to get out. I ain't found no building. I can't go nowhere right now because I'm quarantined. So now this is where my people come into play.
Yep.
My people sending me buildings. Hey, Fred, check this one out. They texting me. Now I'm just calling places. Boom. I'm having my mama and daddy pull up over here, have my lady pull up over here, and my people just looking out. They and you know what I'm saying? Everybody was doing something to help the situation. Mm-hmm. And so I'm sitting back like, okay, still not even sure what's going on, but I'm calling places, setting this up, applying, denied. Chuck, when I tell you, man, I sat there, I got denied. I want to say it ended up being 9 buildings. I got denied that. It was either just the landlords didn't want a barbershop there, or there was already a beauty salon hair place somewhere in the strip. Yeah. So it was just like, man, what am I supposed to do? I'm sitting there stuck, and I give my mom stuff because she's always on Facebook, but it paid off. My mom calls me. She said, hey, Fred, I'm in this mom's group, and somebody told me about this lady down the street. You should need to go check this building out. So by this time, I'm off quarantine. I'm like, okay, cool. I finally get out of the house. This is around like August 16th, 17th or something.
Right around the corner from where y'all at.
Right around the corner. So I'm like, okay, so the first shop was on Johnson Drive and like Merriam Lane. Next shop on Johnson Drive in Quivira.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, we right down the street. So I go and check this building out. The building used to be a workout studio. I ain't gonna lie, the building needed some work. I'm like, all right. I'm in there just trying to put my mind like, okay, envision this. Okay, I can put this here. But I'm just replaying everything because in the back of my head, I'm like, now we rolling into, this is maybe August 20th, 5th or something. I'm close to my deadline. I got to get up out the other shop.
Yeah, roll out.
It's back to my people. I call my people. I'm like, hey, I need help unloading this shop. Man, bro.
They showed
when
up.
I say my people showed up and showed out, man, I was like, hey, I need y'all. I'll never forget, too, the day that we moved out there, I want to say it was like August 30th that they ended up pulling up. When we pulled up, it was raining that morning. I pull up in the parking lot. My dad got a box truck. Pops pulled a box truck up. First, it was raining, so it wasn't a lot of people there. You know what I'm saying? It's probably like 2 or 3 of the homies there. I'm like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Come on. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. By the time I unlocked the door, propped the door open, cars just started rolling.
Pulling in. Like, we got
I'm
you,
like,
big friend. We got you, boy.
man. Next thing you know, bro, all my people, they pulling out with toolboxes and power drills. They anything we need to break stuff down.
Yeah.
And so they all walking in. It was like, hey,
Where we start.
What we taking up out of here? So I opened the box truck. I was like, man, well, I put everything. They was like, man, Fred, we taking everything. We ain't leaving her nothing. They taking ceiling fans off the wall, off the ceilings, light fixtures, everything. They taking everything
you brought.
Man, they was not playing no games. We cleared this barbershop out, man, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, they playing no games.
Yeah.
Bros showed up.
That's
I'm talking about, we probably 15, 20 deep running through here. Vending machine, refrigerators, barber chairs, everything just getting low.
How many loads did it take? Just one?
Oh, they loaded everything up in one load.
One load up the street, right up the street.
Bam. At the time, I hadn't even got the other building yet. But we had to get out of the first one. So we loaded up in the box truck. I'm like, hey, this is it. I'm talking about everything pushed up in there. So now I applied for the other building. Whole time this is going on, I'm like, okay, cool. End up getting approved for the second building. I'm like, all right, it's back on now. So we went from about a 700 square foot building to the barbershop now is about 1,400 square feet. So I doubled my size.
Huge.
And big barbershop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I went from 4 barbers to now 7. And so I'm like, okay, now we moving a little bit. So obviously had to call my people again, like, hey, it's time for unload. You know what I mean? And before I did the unload, I had to stop myself. I said, you know what? The old landlord, and I'm sure some people, they probably thought I was just going to fail and I was going to give up. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'll never forget this. I want to give a shout out real quick to my barbers that I was working, Gio, Lou, and Dre at the time. I remember when we got kicked out of the first shop, I had to tell them because obviously, they have families and lives. I'm like, hey, man, we got to shut the barbershop down, man. I'll never forget, all 3 of them kind of looked over at me and was like, all right, so where are we going next?
Yep.
In my mind, I didn't even know. But when I seen them have as much confidence in me, that gave me the motivation. I was like, okay, I got y'all.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was all that I needed.
your
I was
push,
just
man.
that was my confirmation. Like, Fred, you got to keep going now. You know what I'm saying? When I'm telling my story and I'm telling people, oh yeah, I got kicked out of the other spot, they're like, all right, well, where you going now?
Yeah.
People just looking at me like, Fred, we
Because
know
they
bro,
know
this is
you
easy.
have the heart to succeed.
And so, so I end up, grabbing the other shop. Like I said, way bigger. I'm texting the barbers. I'm like, hey, we got a second home. It's on now. Like, but when y'all come back this time, I'm gonna make it even better for y'all. Yeah. So in my mind at that time, I was talking to my parents. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go all the way in on this one. You know what I'm saying? Buying new chairs for everybody. We going with a whole new look. I'm coming with the pool table inside of there. Yeah, I'm like, I want people to see, like, even though something bad like that happened, we gonna bounce back from this.
Keep it moving.
You know what I'm saying? And we gonna come bigger and better.
Exactly.
And so flip that out. Open that up.
And then when you open that front door up, you say, "Hey, dang, I got this barber pole that I need put up." And like, man, I know somebody, man. Who can I call?
Hey, man, my people though.
And now that thing's spinning, and you called your people,
and that's what it was about. You know what I'm saying? It was love. You know what I'm saying? I wanted you even come to me on the I need. Hey, Fred, what's up? You need? Okay, I got you.
Where you at?
Can you cut my grandsons here? I got y'all.
And I got
y'all. You know what I mean?
But a lot of people don't understand, man. You didn't stop this there. You what are you doing with the community?
Oh, so now just backpedal a little bit at the first barbershop. We started a Thanksgiving drive. That was my big thing. You know, I was like, okay, Thanksgiving is a big day for a lot of families that come together, they eat and stuff. But the reality is, there's a lot of families out here that can't afford Thanksgiving meals. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, Fred, instead of us just trying to donate to somebody, let's try to feed some families. And I don't mean just give them a turkey. No, let's do something different to shake the game up. We gonna make sure that we get them a turkey, the butter, the salt, pepper, everything that they need to cook
make that dinner.
To make the whole meal, foil, seasoning, everything that they need to make these meals. The first year, our first Thanksgiving drive at the first shop, we fed 15 families. I'm talking about gallon of milk, eggs, butter, everything. We fed 15 families.
So it's about $300 worth of food
per family.
Yep. And it was 15.
It was 15 of
That's
them.
a lot.
And that was donations from my people.
Yeah.
Donations from the shop. You know what I mean? And that's what it was from. And with that, I'm talking about just people pulling up, hey, Fred, people that didn't even get cut at the barbershop. And that's where it was like, okay, it's bigger than just the haircuts. You know what I'm saying? It's bigger than the barbershop. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing that I wanted to make sure people understood, like, especially for myself, is like, I didn't care about it being a me situation because it wasn't about me. Yeah. It's never been about me. You know what I'm saying? I like looking out for my people and doing stuff to be like, hey, we all going to the top.
But sometimes it takes you
to lead something. And so we fed 15 families. So come year 2, that's when COVID hit. But we were this is our first year at the new shop. So we were big too. Yeah, well, I went to that drive. It was crazy, but that was year 2. The second year that we did it, we only were able to feed, I think, like 12 families. Mm-hmm. You know, it was rough for everybody, you know what I'm saying? But we were still able to feed 12 families and bless 12 families. So it was cool. So now going into that third year, this would be our last year was our third Thanksgiving drive for the officially chopped barbershop. We ended up feeding 26 families.
It's going up. Them numbers
so now, so when I seen it, I'm like, oh, okay, 26. Like, we in here. Yeah, we putting a little dent and stuff. So for myself this year, I'm like, hey, we going for 50. Yeah. So we, you know what I'm saying? It's only going to go up here, and you know, and it was learning as well. You know what I'm saying? I reached out to the local Hy-Vee in the area and talked to one of their managers, and I'm in the process of working with the Shawnee store to get donations to help families. But
so so let me know this. When are you going to bring out these Feed the 50 T-shirts?
Feed the 50. Ooh.
Feed the 50.
Hey, see, you just sparked something right there.
I'm in marketing, so it comes natural.
Okay, feed the 50. Yeah.
I might even be willing to get on it, in on that. And,
that's
kind of
our,
try to get a couple of other big businesses to get in.
And that's what I want to do. For me, it's like, you know, in my mind and my vision, I'm like, okay, if we can bless 50 families, and it just always goes up. I don't know, 50, 75, 100. Eventually, it becomes way bigger than
outgrows you.
Yeah, so where I'm like, hey, I need other people to come in and, you know, help me out.
Book bags though, man. Hold on, you ain't just feeding families. You also doing other stuff, boy.
Yeah, we definitely do back to school drives. Officially chopped.
Look at that. Look at you, big man.
Look, I like making sure, man. Like I said, we taking care of our people first. You know what I mean? People get this misconception with me having a barbershop in Shawnee. First of all, it's all this money in Shawnee that these kids are struggling, families are struggling, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To give a little bit of brief info, like my parents been doing foster care since I was in the 10th grade.
Right.
I don't watch my parents foster probably 50 kids since I've graduated high school. You know what I mean? There's a lot of kids in foster care in Shawnee, Kansas.
Right.
There's a lot of families that are struggling in Shawnee, Kansas. So my thing is this: I'm not at the point I can't touch everybody yet, but my goal is I could touch everybody in my backyard right now. So we're gonna take care, and it's gonna keep growing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so for our back to school drive, we gave out free haircuts and free braids. So had my little cousin Dominique,
backpacks and all kinds of stuff. Though, did you guys give out?
We did backpacks. We gave backpacks, rulers, pencils, crowns. I mean, we loaded their back, glue sticks, everything that they needed, man. And it was all donations from my people, man. And the people in the community just coming out and hearing and seeing what we were doing. We fed them food and everything, did, hot dogs and stuff, had everybody come out, and it was a great turnout. I want to say we end up, for our backpack drive and school supplies, we end up having like 230 backpacks. So some stuff,
230 kids.
Yeah, it was cool, man. It was a good time.
That's what I'm saying, man. You're doing so much in the community. You could be a barbershop. And people can come in there and they can get their hair cut, and you can give them a little conversation. They can they come for some laughs, and they can leave and do it all over again in a week or so. But when you go into a barbershop and you walk into that barbershop, and it's not like you're walking into a barbershop, it's like you're walking into a whole community, and that community is inside there working together. One time I came in, like I said, you have the old movie, The Barbershop, with Ice Cube.
Ice Cube,
in it.
Yes, sir.
You in that movie, they cut hair and they had problems. Everybody had issues, and they talked about those issues, and they laughed about them. They made fun about everybody, but at the end of the day, before they closed that shop, you walked away with a sense that you wouldn't have never got if you wouldn't have experienced that particular day.
Yes, sir.
You don't get that from a lot of places because a lot of places you don't have the opportunity to sit for that moment and actually talk. Everyone's so rush. You can't rush to a chair. So you got to sit there and you got to talk. And barbers, a lot of people don't understand, it's hard sitting there. It's like a bartender. It's hard sitting there serving somebody or cutting them and they don't talk. So y'all have to be therapists.
Most definitely.
Y'all have to force people to talk. And then, once the conversation get going, now the whole entire place is chatting. Well, when I was there, guy comes in, sells some shoes.
Yes, sir.
And, a nice pair of shoes, by the way. You bought them.
Yeah.
You turned around and sold them for even more. But it was just the experience of watching the laughter, people walking in and they trying to, they're hustling. Everyone's in there to give everyone an enlightening experience, no matter what. If you can walk into a barbershop and you can get that out of there, and you can also walk into a barbershop in the middle of the day and you see a drive going on that ain't got nothing to do with making money. Actually, the money is coming out of your pocket. Yes, sir. Because that's what's in your heart. Yes, sir. Man, that's how communities grow. I take my hat off to you, Fred, and I've been trying to get this interview out of you for a long time now. You know it.
I already know.
I have, and I know you're busy because I see what you're doing. I came to your shop one time for a ribbon cutting, and I talked to like 4 of the chamber members. And I've had the president of Lenexa Chamber of Commerce in here, sitting right where you sitting. And those people, they're normal people like everybody else, but they hold roles and they hold a lot of influence within the communities that they govern. Yes, sir. Those people govern that community. And I heard some big stuff that they had to say about Officially Chopped. And now, not only are you doing what you're doing there and you start at the barbershop, now next door, you've evolved into something totally different than that. Now you're opening up a shop that you won't even work in. It's for other people to create their own hustles out of, and not just going from that. You play football, which is your passion. I want to talk about that a little bit too. But dude, I mean, some of us just think we're normal and ordinary people, but and that's cool because that's the humbleness in you. When all whole time, man, you super and you feel it all your life. That's why you keep saying, I knew it was something more. You know, when it's something more, that means you can't stop. You're gonna keep going. So with that being said, you kept going, and now you started. You about to open up another shop. Matter of fact, this afternoon.
We just.
I mean, this morning it opened up this morning. So tell everybody about what's going on with that.
Officially styled Braden Studio. So
officially
styled Braden Studio. So we got another shop a couple doors down from the barbershop. It's in the same strip mall. So the strip mall has got five different businesses in there. So right now we got 2 of them. The goal is
actually you have 3, but you took 2 of them, made it in one.
Into one. Yeah. So the goal is end up taking the whole strip. That's what it's a bigger picture. But officially styled Braden Studios, it's just for the women. You know what I'm saying? A place where they can go to get their, the hair done and feel at peace and,
Are you going to eventually? I know you might not do nails in there now, but are you going to get a nail spot up there?
So it's funny. It's funny that you say that. Hey, the first person I'm telling this to, so check this out. My goal is I want to put a pedicure lady in the barbershop. Just pedicures for men. First barbershop in Kansas City. Oh, yeah, that's it.
Killing it.
That's it. You come in there and get your fade. You come and get your toes clipped in right there at the men. Yeah, go ahead. Get them right. So we got some stuff cooking in the lab for sure.
I'm going to give you I told you I'm into what? I'm into marketing. So I always have marketing ideas, and I love giving them out. I don't even charge for them. I just say, look, I'm going to drop some in your ear. You run with it. You do what you want to with it. But if it brings you some sort of value, which I know it will, use it. And if it does you well, just say, good looking out, dog. Hook me up on a cut or something.
I got you.
But no, one thing that I don't see when it comes to barbershops is the membership. I don't see that.
It's funny that you say that because that is
I'm just saying you got pedicure going on in there, and when you start offering more services, man, that's when that lump sum. Look, man, you drop $2,500. $250 a month. On a membership, and you get the whole.
Yeah, most definitely.
This is what you get with this
most
pack.
Definitely.
We even throw lockers in the back.
Hey, most definitely. It's definitely. It's funny that you bring that up because I got a couple buddy of mine that they're personal trainers and stuff. Mm-hmm. So big vision for myself, and like I said, I always like to speak stuff into the universe. You know what I'm saying? I like to manifest and just be like, hey, look, this is what we're gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So to my bros, I'm like, hey, y'all personal train, we need to get a gym.
Yeah.
And with a barbershop in it. You know what I'm saying? And it's a black-owned barber. Like, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. Like, I want to see my people like, hey, let's do something bigger than just us. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, because it's always, for me, something I can tell, other people is just like, sometimes you got to put your pride and everything that you want to the side and think bigger and how you can bless other people. You know what I mean? And when you do that, I feel like you receive so many more blessings when you focus on everything else but yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. You got to love yourself, take care of yourself. But sometimes you got to move yourself out the picture and understand there's people over here that really need you.
Got to get to them first.
So you got make sure they cool. You know what I mean? And it's funny and not to put too much of my business out there. I told one of my partners the other day. I said, man, I almost feel like I'm the type of person that'll sacrifice my happiness to watch somebody else be happy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's just because I enjoy seeing people happy. Yeah. Not saying that I'm unhappy, but what I mean by that is if I can bring down my happiness some, which I'm still cool, and I can share that happiness with my people, and I get to watch them be happy, I'm cool.
Because whatever makes you happy makes you happy.
Yeah, and I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, doing the back to school drives, doing the Thanksgiving drives, I never once try to, and it's funny, I got some pictures up, but it's like I don't post the families. Because it's not about trying to be like, oh, look at. It's just like, bro, we gonna make noise in silence. You know what I'm saying? They gonna know when they turn around. Like, man,
you put energy out there and you expect it back. Man, you always end up with what you expect back.
Yeah. So,
but if you put it out there and you just know it's coming back right, you don't need everybody else.
At that point, it's organic.
Yeah, it's
and
organic.
I like organic things. You know what I'm saying? So
organic.
Yeah, organic. I like that. Yeah. So so I like to just make sure that we focusing on, man, our people. And just like I said, it's got to be something bigger. You talked about the Chambers, remember earlier that you had. I talked to a couple guys that are the Chambers of Shawnee. And for me, is getting with other businesses like nonprofit organizations and creating something bigger than us. You know what I mean? And finding out a way that we can help people out in our community just to give them a push on something. Hey, because there's people out there that need.
How many networking events do you go to?
Honestly,
I know your time is like you always involved in stuff, but look up like a few of the networking, like the KCBOC on Facebook, and then you got the ACA. ACA is a big one. You might want to even look into that one too, because there's a lot of people, and once you fit your face, your presence, you have a personality, that character, it always sticks with people, and you got that character. So I know you will stick with a lot of people. So look for those places.
Will do.
But I know we talked a lot about the barbershop. We talked a little bit about the new
Braden Studio. Yep.
Do me a favor and what's the name of the barbershop?
Officially, the barbershop is Officially Chopped Barbershop.
And then you flip the script. And now today opens
Officially Styled Braden Studio.
Braden Studio, which entails
just braiders. They do feed-ins, retwists, locks, butterfly, any kind of braids and styles that you can think of. That's what we offer.
And you don't have to worry about sitting between somebody's legs outside in the hood. You can come inside in that AC
pumping.
And I've seen this place. This place is wonderful, man. This dude, he went out of his way to make this thing look totally phenomenal. I seen this place when he first took it over. And man, the improvements on this place. He's definitely making sure he's not just giving you a haircut, but he's giving you guys experiences. He's making sure you're not just getting twisted up and loped up. He's making sure you walking in there and you feeling like you're actually in some place that's doing it. But this dude right here, he don't just do this. Out of all this stuff that he does, he still finds time to go for his passion. And I'm going to let him talk to you a little bit about his passion right quick, because like I say, he a big dude. And you got to use it. When you got it, you got to use it for something.
There and go ahead and do something.
Yeah, boy. So tell everybody a little bit about your passion.
Playing football, man.
Putting mofos on their back.
Yeah, we got to put them dog paws on. That's hey, you got to use these sometimes and put your hands on people and move them around. But I play semi-pro football for the Kansas City Bulldogs. I'm going in the year, it's 9.
Yeah,
year 9 of the Bulldogs.
10.
Yeah, 9-10.
Right
Probably retired. I told myself,
right out of school.
Right out of school, yeah. It's funny. I talked to one of the homies the other day, and it's like, I've played football every year since I was in the 5th grade.
Man.
Every year. And I'm 31 years old.
Still doing
I'll be 32 in 8 days.
This stuff ain't low. You put money. Y'all. This is bread. This is big. Y'all playing for big money.
Yeah.
How the process of this go?
So it's actually what's funny, man. When you talk about passion, we actually pay to play.
Yes.
I actually pay a player's fee to play football, to do something I just love to do. I get to run around with my dogs. I get to travel out of state, go hit people and not get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
So it's a good time. You know what I mean? I've got to see a lot of different states because of this. I mean, I went to Florida. We played in a national title game. Won a national title in Florida. It's real cool. We actually got a game next week, July 23rd, against a team from Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's a big game too. We got to win to place first in our region. We got to beat the Pioneers by 16.
So it's point spread too.
It's a point spread, yeah. So we got to. If not, we're gonna have to travel for playoffs.
Oh,
if we can
stay home.
Yeah, we want to stay home. We don't want to get
when y'all travel, y'all get the opportunity to take your whole family. I mean, you pay for them, of course, but
you take your family. I mean, they provide transportation.
Ain't that like a hidden vacation?
Hey, it's something like that, man. I get to take the kids out to Florida, man. They had a lot of good times out in Daytona Beach, and it was funny. I got to experience Florida for the first time. I was, I think, 29. I was 29 years old. It's the first time I ever got to see a beach before in my life.
Really?
Ever. Dude, first time I ever put my feet in sand.
That's straight Kansas City.
Hey.
Blood there.
So it was funny because, for me, it was about, obviously we were there for football, but, when they said, hey, we got invited to a national title game, I'm like, man, that's cool. I ain't never been to Florida. Like, I get to go see an ocean in real life. And so I didn't hesitate. I took my kids with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey, I want y'all to see something I'm 29. This is my first time. Y'all get to experience at a young age, so being able to allow my kids to see stuff at such a young age that took me a long time to get to. And, and just to throw this out there for people that are watching, man, like, don't ever hesitate to go out and try and venture out to things thinking it's impossible to do. Let's be honest with y'all. Like, you work, you save your money, you can go do whatever y'all want to do. Yep. You know what I'm saying? I remember being a kid, seeing Disney World on TV, and it was like, man, I'll never get to go there. Like, it almost seemed, unreal. Like, I just took my kids to Disney World the first time last year, and it was just like, we got to go there. Like, I seen the Magical Kingdom, and in reality, it was just like the only thing that stops people from going to do these things a lot of times is money. But then, like I try to tell people, and I won't, you say this is my camera, I get to talk to them. The only thing stopping people is your mindsets, and you just got to work, man. If you really want to go do anything in life, you just got to work.
I put in work.
And if you work, you can go do anything that you want to do. So don't ever.
And not just work though, man.
Yeah.
Consistent.
It's a consistent mindset though. Yes. I'm gonna keep going back to that. It's all a mindset. When you see people doing things that you've always dreamed of doing or that you've always wanted to do, and you like, man, I wonder why they get to do this. Really watch that person and look at their mindset compared to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, hey, maybe I need to change my mindset. Maybe I need to change the people that I'm around. Yep. You know what I'm saying? To surround yourself around people that are going to push you. You know what I mean? And, and that's what it's about, man. It is creating that mindsets for you to think bigger and bigger and bigger. You know what I mean? And I know, I try to tell myself, everybody is going to make it, man. And it's like, I like to think that way. I always just try to think positive, like, hey, everybody can do that. Some people are content with being, the way they are. And I'm never going to knock nobody for that, but I'm always going to push them to try to be even greater. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's what I feel like that's my duty, man, while I'm here, man.
Sometimes, man, you do the best you can by showing them. I mean, you don't realize it. You're a hero to a lot of people. I mean, to you, you just old Fred. I got a barber chair over here. I done did a couple things. I'm popping up little businesses here and there. But as you go along on that journey, it just seems so normal to you. And like the conversation we had earlier about walking into the room and knowing that you just ended your this stage, and now you got to go on. Now you got to do something different. Yep. You're not running from what you're doing, but you still feel like this ain't it.
This ain't it, man.
I gotta keep moving. So that conversation you had with me, that was basically saying, this level for me, I've accomplished it. Yep. So now, instead of being content with just that, you trying to go, you want to really go to another level. And that's what makes the hero come out of you that you don't see. That's what everyone else sees. This guy is consistently doing things, and as he's doing them, he's not doing them just for him. He's doing them, and he's bringing us along with him. Like you said, everybody ain't going to win. Everybody ain't going to have that same mindset. But that person might not have it 5 years from now, but just because you kept going, just because you kept doing what you were doing, Now this guy just finally snapped
Please,
in,
yep.
and he got his little thing going, and he'll end up walking up to you,
Most definitely
saying, "Dude,
Hey, I appreciate it.
I
Yeah.
appreciate everything you
Yes,
did."
sir.
So, Fred, man, this interview,
Yeah.
long overdue.
Long overdue, for sure.
But man, this was it, man. I
appreciate it.
I appreciate everything you're doing for the community, man. You keep doing what you're doing. You don't let nobody tell you anything, which I already know. Big Fred will put you down before anything. But like I said, you had a good set of parents,
Yes, sir.
and I take my hat off to both of y'all because, like I said, it takes a lot to raise these kids nowadays and without trying to guide them to do what you want them to do. But when you have a father that says, if this is what you want to do, son, go do it, you know. And now look at your son. He's doing way more than what he set out to do, and he got a whole lot more to do. And as long as you know that you got that backbone out there that's pushing you on, like he said, he got his people, and man, you know you're gonna always win. So
Yes,
Fred, man,
Yes, sir.
take my hat off to you.
Appreciate
dog.
you, brother.
I take my hat
Appreciate
off
you.
to
Yes,
you,
sir.
man.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you.
Thanks for coming on the show.
No, I appreciate you having me, man. It was a pleasure.
I got one more thing though,
Yes,
and
sir.
I know you did give him something,
Yes, sir.
but give him one more thing to walk away with.
People are going to look at situations, and every situation you have. I don't like to use the word boss. I'm nobody's boss. That's the first thing. People always, oh, Fred, how's it feel to be? I'm nobody's boss. What I like to consider myself as a leader, though, and a good leader. And if you consider yourself a leader, understand that not everybody has leader qualities, and that's okay. But a good leader is going to make sure he reminds the people that he's leading how important their roles are as well. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's not about, hey, I'm better than you at this, or I'm better. No, it ain't about that. A leader is going to be like, hey, I'm going to show you how to do this, this, and this. And I'm going to let you know that everything that you're doing behind me right now is important, and I need you just as much as you need me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So, to all my people out there, man, keep your head. I know, we living in hard times right now. Especially today is July 11th. We had a situation in Kansas City where, some gunshots rang out down in Westport. You know what I'm saying? We living in just a bad time. Looking at inflation of things and, gas prices. And, I know it's hard for people, but I understand. And like we talked about earlier, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got to keep pushing, and at no time does time ever stop. I was listening to a podcast the other day. A guy was talking about, every day we wake up, we're getting closer to our expiration date. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, man, that hit home, because every day we don't got a lot of time to waste. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, they wake up and they just like, oh man, I'm just kind of do this. But the next thing you know, you realize 6 months done went by, and you turn around, you're like, dang, what did I do? So if there's anything that you want to do in life, don't hesitate or don't second guess yourself. Just go do it and trust yourself. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, always gamble on yourself. If you really feel like you can do something, understand and truly believe. And I try to tell my kids that they can do whatever you want to do. Y'all can do whatever y'all want to do if y'all put y'all mindsets to it. So with that being said, man, y'all keep your heads up. Y'all already know Chop the Barber, man. We love y'all. We going to the top of the mountain, and we about that thing, man.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So how can they reach you?
Oh, so you can check us out on Facebook at Chop Shop Barbershop. Also, you can go to officiallychop.com if you want to book with one of our great barbers, man. We got a lot of great barbers out there.
Yes,
I am on social media. If you want to follow me on Instagram, that is going to be Chop Shop 719. That's CHOP 719.
How can they make an appointment?
Book an appointment at officiallychop.com. You click on the booking tab. Booking tab pops up. You'll see a picture of me, Lou, G, Big Mike, Jay, Marlon. Got some great barbers. Shout out to my braiders, Kiki, Essence, and Paris. I also do have one more chair open available in my braiding studio. So if anyone is interested in doing hair and looking to get into a shop, man, I'd love to rap with you and potentially bring you onto the team. And don't ever hesitate to reach out to me. Cell phone number, man, my line is always open. It's 913-227-5980, man.
Booyah.
Yeah, we in there.
That's what's up,
Yes,
man.
Sir.
Hey, Big Fred, thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, man. And again, congratulations on your steady climb
Yes, sir.
to greatness, man. You're doing big in the city. You're doing big, man.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
Thank you all for joining us again for another episode of the First Cup KC. I'm your host, Coffee Cup Chuck. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And as always, stay positive, people.